In the era of global evolution, humans and monsters coexist, and evolution is the only theme. Chu Zhou traveled to this world and at the age of 17, awakened the attribute panel. Breathing technique, combat skills, talents, can be upgraded by adding points. Basic breathing method, upgrade to 10,000 levels and become black hole breathing method. D.level combat skills, upgrade to 10,000 levels, become SSS level divine skills. Normal talent, upgrade to 10,000 levels, become a true god talent. Several years later, Chu Zhou stood at the top of the cosmic pyramid, facing numerous cosmic hegemons, cosmic true gods, and cosmic saints. He summarized his life. Everything I have today is what I have worked hard to achieve. Deep blue, add some points. Keywords of the novel. Global evolution. I have the property panel without pop-ups, global evolution. I have the property panel. Download the complete collection of TXT, global evolution. I have the property panel. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Talent Awakens, Take Off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1, Talent Awakens, Take Off. Jiangqing. 5th High School. Academic Affairs Office. Chu Zhou, after discussion with school leaders, your university recommendation quota has been cancelled and will be offered to the south of Jinjian. Academic Affairs Director Jin Jingmao, sitting on a chair behind his desk, spoke stiffly and expressionlessly issued a notice to Chu Zhou. Not bad, it's a notification. There is no reason. Beside Jin Jingmao stood a student wearing golden glasses, with a faint smile on his lips. He is Jin Jinan. Why? Chu Zhou suddenly stood up from the chair, with a handsome face and an angry expression. His gaze was like a knife, looking straight at the academic director Jin Jingmao. There are only 3 recommended spots for Wudao University in 5th High School. In this year's senior year of high school, only 3 students have exceeded their life field ability by 3 and meet the admission requirements. He is one of the 3 students. The school had already given him a recommended spot. Now, the Dean of Academic Affairs, Jin Jingmao, has suddenly cancelled his recommendation quota and has been replaced by Jin Jinan. How can he not be angry? This recommended spot is very important. It can directly change a person's lifelong destiny. Entering Wudao University not only provides better education, but also offers more cultivation resources. Even, there is a chance to obtain precious genetic potions. The above are all important factors that can awaken one's genes and promote one to become a warrior. Once you become a warrior, you will soar to the sky and become a human being from then on. Therefore, Chu Zhou never allowed his recommended spot to be replaced by someone else. Although, in addition to being recommended, one can also pass the college entrance examination and be admitted to Wudao University. But the college entrance examination itself is full of variables. Since there is a 100% chance, only fools want to take risks. By what? Not by what. Chu Zhou, I'm notifying you now, not discussing with you. That's all for this matter. Academic Affairs Director Jin Jingmao looked at Chu Zhou coldly, without even considering him. Chu Zhou clenched his fists and prepared to punch the fat face of the academic director Jin Jingmao. I disagree. Just as Chu Zhou was about to take action, the door of the Academic Affairs Office was violently pushed open, and a female teacher walked in quickly. With long leather boots, a hip-wrapped skirt, and short hair, this is a handsome beauty. Unfortunately, her temperament was very sharp, and she was like a machete. When people came into contact with her gaze, it felt like a suffocation that cut through her throat. Sister Dao. Seeing the person coming, Chu Zhou's eyes lit up. Dao Jie is his homeroom teacher. Academic Affairs Director Jin Jingmao saw Sister Dao approaching quickly, and his pupils slightly shrunk before smiling and saying, Teacher Li Gu. This woman, with a mysterious background, seems to come from a large family in the Bay city of Guangdong, which makes him a little wary. Bang! Sister Dao slapped the office desk, frowning like a knife, and coldly gazed at Jin Jingmao, saying, "Jin Jingmao, did you suddenly ask Jin Zhennan to replace Chu Zhou's recommended spot because Jin Zhennan is your nephew and you want to engage in favoritism and fraud? Teacher Li Gu, you can eat randomly, but you can't speak randomly." Jin Jingmao's face darkened. As the academic affairs director, it is my responsibility to hand over the recommended spots to more suitable students. What does it mean, more suitable? You can tell me. Sister Dao raised her eyebrows and said, "Although Jin Zhennan is good, I remember that his life field ability has not yet exceeded 3, while Chu Zhou, a few months ago, had already exceeded 3. Cough. Jin Zhennan, who had been standing still, suddenly coughed lightly and focused everyone's attention on himself. He then pushed the golden glasses on his nose bridge and chuckled lightly, saying, "Teacher, not long ago, my life field ability had exceeded 3. Now, I am also a senior apprentice." Upon hearing this, Sister Dao's gaze immediately froze. Chu Zhou also looked at Jin Zhennan, his classmate. He knows that things may be troublesome. Even if Sister Dao wants to help him, she may not be able to solve it. The breakthrough of life field ability is a symbol of advanced apprenticeship. Advanced apprentices meet the conditions for recommendation. In this way, the academic director Jin Jingmao, with some excuses, chose to be recommended to Jin Zhennan. Sure enough, Jin Jingmao spoke up and said, "Teacher Li Gu, I respect you. I am very happy that you can consider your students. But please also respect my choice. Jin Zhennan is obviously more suitable than Chu Zhou. Besides, whether Chu Zhou or Jin Zhennan, they are all your students. I hope you don't be biased." "Humph, naturally I won't be biased." Sister Dao snorted coldly, "But even if he enters Jinzenan and becomes a senior apprentice, it doesn't mean he's more suitable than Chu Zhou. Chu Zhou was promoted to a senior apprentice a few months earlier than him. I naturally have my reasons." Jin Jingmao said lightly, looking slightly contemptuously at Chu Zhou. Chu Zhou and Jin Zhennan are both senior apprentices. But what Chu Zhou is currently practicing is still the basic breathing techniques and DE.level combat skills he learned for free from school. Jin Zhennan not only cultivates our Jin family C.level breathing technique and flowing wind breathing technique, but also cultivates several C.level combat skills such as breaking kill fist. Based on these, I think Jin Zhennan is more suitable, no problem. Sister Dao's gaze was cold. Jin Jingmao's reasons cannot convince her. Humph, whether a person is strong or not depends on their true combat power, not on their breathing techniques or combat skills. I am strong, or Jin Zhennan is strong. After a match, it's clear. Chu Zhou spoke coldly, his gaze fixed on Jin Zhennan, his eyes full of war intent. He wanted to defeat Jin Zhennan in person and hit Jin Jingmao's face hard. Academic Affairs Director Jin Jingmao saw that Chu Zhou had not yet accepted his fate, and his gaze turned cold, so he wanted to reprimand Chu Zhou. But Jin Zhennan spoke up, he pushed his eyes in the center of his eyebrows, and chuckled lightly. Chu Zhou, since you want to have a competition, I'll give you a chance, so as not to be accused of bullying others. 1 month later, our top 10 high schools in Jiangqing will hold an elite trial, and all senior apprentices can participate. We will compare who ranks higher. Whoever ranks higher will naturally be better. The recommended spots will naturally belong to the outstanding ones. Okay. Let's compete on the elite trial. Chu Zhou's eyes sparkled with determination. Regarding the agreement between Chu Zhou and Jin Zhennan, Dao Jia has no objections. On the contrary, the academic director Jin Jingmao frowned, seeming somewhat dissatisfied with Jin Zhennan's opportunity for Chu Zhou. Suddenly, Jin Zhennan approached Chu Zhou and said in Chu Zhou's ear, "Chu Zhou, do you really think that you have a chance to surpass me? I'm giving you a chance, it's just that I want everyone to see clearly. You, the so-called commoner genius, are actually just like that. You have a great reputation, and I happen to step on your position. Really? Then it depends on who steps on who. Chu Zhou's eyes flashed with a piercing coldness. Since the matter has been settled, then it's settled. Dao Jie gestured to Chu Zhou with her eyes and left the academic affairs office with Chu Zhou. Jinan, why did you give him a chance? Do you know that this recommended spot is important for both you and your family, and there should be no accidents? As soon as Sister Dao and Chu Zhou left, Jin Jingmao was very dissatisfied and questioned Jin Jinan. Uncle Heir, of course I know the importance of being recommended. However, if I don't give him a chance today, will Sister Dao just give up like this? The whole school knows that she is very optimistic about Chu Zhou. If she gets into trouble with the principal, I'm afraid things will get even more complicated. Jin Jinan's face was slightly gloomy as he spoke. Damn it, if it weren't for the woman's background, I would have fired her directly. Jin Jingmao slapped his desk with one hand, his face full of anger. Why did you set the competition in the elite trial 1 month later? Why didn't you defeat Chu Zhou on the spot, leaving that woman speechless? Jin Jingmao asked again. This is just a precaution. Chu Zhou, after all, he was promoted to a senior apprentice a few months earlier than me. Moreover, he is also a well-known civilian genius in the school, with impressive combat prowess. I have just been promoted to a senior apprentice and haven't become proficient in several C-level combat skills yet. In order to prevent any accidents, I placed the competition in the elite trial 1 month later. With this month's time and Uncle San's guidance, I am capable of mastering several C-combat skills. When the time comes, it will be easy to defeat Chu Zhou. Jin Jinan spoke cautiously. The recommended quota is indeed very important to him, and in order to prevent accidents, he must be cautious and cautious. After listening to Jin Jinan's explanation, Jin Jingmao nodded slightly, as if he agreed with Jin Jinan's approach. No way. I'm still not at ease. It's too difficult to awaken one's genes and become a true warrior. This recommended spot is related to whether you can become a true warrior. It is very important for you and your family, and there should be no accidents. To prevent accidents, I still need to find a few people to depose Chu Zhou, so that I can be foolproof. Jin Jingmao exuded a gloomy and cold aura. Upon hearing these words, Jin Jinan's gaze narrowed slightly and he did not object to his second uncle Jin Jingmao's decision. What he wants is to get 100% of the recommended spots. If Uncle Heir can depose Chu Zhou and let him lose directly, naturally, he has no objection. On the tree-lined path of the campus, Dao Jie walked ahead and Chu Zhou walked behind. Chu Zhou, although Jin Jingmao's words may sound unpleasant, he is right in some aspects. Compared to Jin Jinan, your cultivation resources are too poor. Let's do it. For the next month, come to me early every morning and I'll teach you a few practical combat skills. After Sister Dao finished speaking, she didn't wait for Chu Zhou to reply before quickly leaving. Chu Zhou looked at Sister Dao's distant figure, with a hint of gratitude flashing in his eyes. Over the years, if it weren't for the constant guidance of Sister Dao, he might not have been promoted to a senior apprentice yet. And this time, without a doubt, it was Sister Dao who helped him again. Otherwise, with the intervention of the Academic Affairs Director Jin Jinan, his recommended spot may be directly replaced by Jin Jinan, without even a chance to compete. Jin Jinan, you want to take away my recommended spot? It depends on whether you have that ability. Chu Zhou muttered to himself, with a murderous intent in his eyes. He also felt pressure in his heart. Although Jin Jinan was promoted to a senior apprentice 3 months later than him, Jin Jinan's conditions are much better than him. Not only can I learn C-level breathing techniques, but I have also learned several C-level combat techniques, and even have real martial arts guidance. These, he doesn't even have Chu Zhou. It is obvious that this is a tough battle. However, even tough battles have to be fought. Next, I can only practice hard. It can become stronger, yes. Chu Zhou was carefully contemplating his next cultivation plan, when suddenly a refreshing sensation surged in his mind and his eyes flickered. The next moment, a semi-transparent attribute box appeared before his eyes. At the same time, a lot of information also surged in his mind. Name: Chu Zhou, Senior Apprentice, Life Field Ability 3.5, Attribute Point. 5 Basic Breathing Method, Level D. Third Layer, Cannot Be Improved, Arc-Shaped Hand Knife, D. Level. Level 2. Mastery, Can Be Improved. Looking at the familiar attribute interface, Chu Zhou was slightly stunned. Immediately, he felt a burst of ecstasy in his heart. It's been 17 years, I've been in this world for a whole 17 years. Do you know how I've been living these 17 years? My golden finger, you have finally arrived. No, it's not a golden finger. It's my talent, you've finally awakened. Chu Zhou was reading the information that came to mind, with a smile on his face. He was about to take off. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Rapid Progress. A Flying Feeling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Rapid Progress. A Flying Feeling. Chu Zhou looked at the semi-transparent attribute panel in front of him, feeling excited and excited. Traveling into this world with extraordinary power, he naturally did not want to be just an ordinary person. Moreover, monsters run rampant in this world, often with powerful ones breaking into human cities and causing terrifying disasters. Being an ordinary person is too insecure. In the past 3 years, I have almost given up all my rest and entertainment time, fully practicing basic breathing techniques and crazily squeezing my body's potential, which is why I was barely promoted to a senior apprentice. But when my life field reaches 3.5, it hardly grows anymore. No matter how hard I practice, the effect is not significant. This indicates that my potential is basically at its end. If I want to be promoted to a true warrior, there is no future, unless there is a special opportunity. That's why I value the recommended spots at Wudao University so much, because entering Wudao University may be my chance. Now that I have awakened the property panel, I see hope. Chu Zhou thought so in his heart, suppressing the excitement in his heart, combined with the information in his brain, and studying the attribute panel in front of him. Name: Chu Zhou, Senior Apprentice, Life Field Ability 3.5, Attribute Point. 5 Basic Breathing Method, Level D. Third Layer, Cannot Be Improved, Arc-Shaped Hand Knife, D. Level. Level 2. Mastery, Can Be Improved. The function of the attribute panel is very simple, with only one function, which is to modify and upgrade skill sets. Enhance the curved hand knife. Chu Zhou's mind twitched, imagining a finger and pressing it hard on a plus sign on the attribute panel. For a moment, the attribute panel exploded. He seemed to have an unfamiliar yet familiar memory in his mind. These memories are very dull and boring, just him, constantly practicing the curved hand knife. Finally, the curved hand knife broke through to a whole new level. Using the attribute panel to upgrade combat skills is not just about obtaining results, but about having both the process and results. It seems that the breakthrough of the curved hand knife is the result of his own hard work. Name: Chu Zhou, Senior Apprentice, Life Field Ability 3.5, Attribute Point. 2 Basic Breathing Method, Level D. Third Layer, Cannot Be Improved, Arc-Shaped Hand Knife, D. Level. Third Layer. In Micro, Cannot Be Raised, the curved hand knife has been promoted to the third level, which is also known as the Micro Level. Chu Zhou was amazed when he saw the changes in the information on the attribute panel. The curved hand knife, although it is a D.level combat skill and not very difficult to cultivate, is also very difficult for an apprentice to cultivate it to the micro level. At least, as far as he knows, no one in the entire 5th high school has mastered advanced combat skills. It took me 3 years to cultivate the arc hand knife to the mastery level, and now with just a thought, I have upgraded to the advanced level. This feeling is refreshing. Chu Zhou was amazed in his heart and wanted to test the power of the micro-level curved hand knife, so he quickly walked towards a small forest on the edge of the campus. I looked around and there was no one around. Bang! He kicked on a banyan tree. The banyan tree shook violently, with nearly 100 yellow-green leaves falling down. Chu Zhou's eyes sparkled with brilliance, and he transformed into a remnant. His hands turned into palms, like 2 extremely sharp hand knives, cutting white curves in the air. This time, use the curved hand knife. Make him feel very different from the past. In the past, when he used his curved hand knife, there were piercing explosions in the air. Now, there is a faint hissing sound in the air, like the sound of a snake breathing. This is a manifestation of more cohesive power and more precise control. At this moment, Chu Zhou's hands seemed to have truly turned into 2 sharp blades, cutting across the surface of fallen leaves. Leaves fall one by one, with a smooth crack appearing in the middle and then splitting into 2 halves. Chu Zhou's gaze swept over a nearby large stone, and with a wave of his palm, a corner of the stone was abruptly cut off with a hissing sound. A smooth plane appears at the position where it is cut. The advanced level curved hand knife is indeed much more powerful than the proficient level curved hand knife. In the past, although I could also cut through fallen leaves and large rocks. The cuts were irregular, the power was not concentrated enough, and the sharpness was not enough. Chu Zhou couldn't help but laugh as he looked at the smooth fallen leaves and large rocks cut through. The promotion of the curved hand knife to the micro level greatly increased his actual combat power. The curved hand knife at the micro level has such power. So what if the curved hand knife is promoted to the perfect level, or even the artistic conception level? I'm afraid its power will be even more terrifying. Although I haven't practiced C.level breathing techniques or C.level combat skills. As long as the arc hand blade is promoted to perfect level, then I have absolute confidence in defeating Jin Zhennan. All combat skills, based on their level of mastery, have 5 levels. Basic level, proficient level, advanced level, perfect level, and artistic conception level. The deeper the realm, the greater the increase in combat power. Although Chu Zhou's curved hand sword is a D.level combat skill, its power is comparable to the basic C.level combat skill at the advanced level. If the D.level combat skill reaches the perfect level, its power will be greater than the basic C.level combat skill. The higher the level of combat skills, the more difficult it is to comprehend and cultivate. C.level combat skills actually correspond to awakening level warriors. Among them, it involves genetic power. Even if an apprentice reluctantly cultivates C.level combat skills, they cannot truly master this combat skill. Therefore, Chu Zhou concluded that even if Jin Zhennan had practiced several C.level combat skills, he would not be able to truly master them, probably just barely getting started, and could not even reach the basic level. With my current life field ability and the increased combat power of the advanced level curved hand knife, I should be able to defeat Jin Zhennan. However, for safety reasons, it's best to cultivate the curved hand knife to the perfect level. The top priority now is to increase attribute points as soon as possible. Chu Zhou thought this way and strode towards the school cafeteria. Attribute points come from the excess energy in his body. The method he is thinking of now to increase attribute points is to eat. The better you eat, the richer the nutrition, and the faster you accumulate attribute points. Shortly after Chu Zhou left the small forest, 2 beautiful girls appeared here. Qianshan, you have already received a recommended spot and can now enter Wudao University. Why are you working so hard? A young girl asked. Wudao University is just a more advanced platform than the school, and many things also need to compete. After entering Wudao University, if you want to obtain more resources for training, you need to pay attention to it. The elite trial in a month will be my opportunity to perform. Therefore, I need to work harder and strive to enter the top 30 in the elite trial. Lu Qianqian said to her best friend Ji Shaoxian, preparing to find a place in the forest to practice breathing techniques. Suddenly, her gaze froze as she looked at the smooth-cut leaves on the ground, and then glanced at a nearby large stone with a smooth cut. Her face immediately showed a moving expression. She squatted down, picked up a leaf to study, and then walked over to the big stone to carefully observe the incision. It seems to be caused by the D-level arched hand knife combat technique. However, even a proficient level curved hand knife cannot achieve this effect. A micro-level curved hand knife. Her heart skipped a beat. Qianqian, what are you looking at these leaves and stones for? Ji Shaoxian asked curiously. Look at these leaves, as well as the fracture of this large stone. It seems that it was all caused by a micro-level curved hand knife. What? A micro-level curved hand knife? Are you saying that in our school, some students practice curved hand knives to the micro-level? Ji Shaoxian was shocked. Is it Zhou Tong, who is on par with you, or Chu Zhou, a commoner genius? It shouldn't be them. Lu Qianqian pondered for a moment and said, Zhou Tong didn't practice the curved hand knife, but Chu Zhou did. But Chu Zhou's curved hand knife is only at the proficiency level. He wants to cultivate the curved hand knife to the advanced level, which is too difficult. Ji Shaoxian frowned. Is it possible that our 5th high school still hides students who have mastered the micro-level curved hand knife? No, that's impossible. If a student had mastered the curved hand knife at the advanced level, it would have caused a sensation in the whole school long ago, and it is impossible to remain unknown. As soon as she finished speaking, she denied it herself. No need to guess. There must have been a teacher who mastered the advanced level curved hand knife practicing here just now. Unfortunately, we are one step late. Otherwise, we can ask this teacher for advice. A micro-level curved hand knife, this is not very common. Lu Qianqian sighed, with a hint of regret on her face. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Beat the dog and beat the owner. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Beat the dog and beat the owner. School cafeteria. Look, Chu Zhou is here. I heard that his recommended spot at Wudao University will be replaced by Jinjin Nanding. Unfortunately, our school finally produced a commoner genius. But in the end, we still lost to the children of wealthy families. There's no way. It's okay if Jin Zhennan doesn't get promoted to a senior apprentice, but if he gets promoted, with his family background and cultivation resources that Chu Zhou can't compare to. Chu Zhou, a common genius, is also considered a celebrity in 5th high school. Before today, when students at school met him, many people would warmly greet Chu Zhou senior brother. But today, he found that the situation had changed. Greetings for him have decreased. Many people looked at him strangely. Having sympathy. There are those who gloat. All kinds of gazes, one after another. Many people are still whispering about his recommended spot being replaced by Jinjin Nanding. It seems that the news has spread. How fast this news spreads. I don't know if anyone intentionally spread it. Chu Zhou did not pay attention to the gazes and discussions around him. After the awakening of the attribute panel, his future is destined to be different from these people. As long as he does not fall midway, he is destined to be a strong man standing at the peak of the human pyramid. And there are probably not many of these people who can eventually become warriors. Giant dragons, how could they care about the opinions and gaze of mere ants? Madman, what's going on? How did Jin Zhennan replace your recommended spot? A spherical creature rolled over from a distance. Those who call Chu Zhou a madman are naturally his close allies, Dong Wendy. Just like the news you heard, Jin Zhennan has been promoted to a senior apprentice, and the Dean of Academic Affairs, Jin Jingmao, wants him to replace my recommended position. Chu Zhou did not conceal his close ally Dong Wendy. Even the matter of agreeing with Jin Zhennan to compete in the elite trial and determine the recommended spot based on ranking has been mentioned. Damn it, it must be because Jin Zhennan is the nephew of the academic director. The academic director has engaged in favoritism and fraud. Dong Wendy spoke indignantly. No, aren't you sure who will get the recommended spot yet? Why, a few lackeys from Jin Zhennan are saying everywhere, your recommended spot is already from Jin Zhennan. Dong Wendy told Chu Zhou about the situation he had just seen. Several attendants from Jin Zhennan now tell everyone that Chu Zhou has been surpassed by Jin Zhennan and the recommended spot has been replaced. After listening, Chu Zhou's eyes flashed with a cold light. Speak of Cao Cao, and he will arrive. 4 figures suddenly walked across the street, led by Jin Zhennan. Chu Zhou and Dong Wendy both saw each other. Jin Zhennan, the recommended spot for Chu Zhou has not yet reached your hands. You just have a few followers spread rumors everywhere, saying that the spot has reached your hands. You are too shameless. Dong Wendy sneered. What? Is the news fake? Chu Zhou's recommended spot has not been replaced by Jin Zhennan yet. In the cafeteria, many students gathered around when they heard Dong Wendy's voice. Oh, Qian, isn't that Chu Zhou, who is on par with you as a civilian genius, and Jin Zhennan? They seem to be in conflict. Let's go and take a look. Lu Qianqian and Ji Shaoxian also walked into the cafeteria. After discovering the traces left by the micro-level curved hand knife in the small forest, they had no intention of practicing and were ready to come and eat when they happened to see the scene in front of them. Fatty guy, what's spreading rumors? What we're talking about is facts. As both senior apprentices, Jin Xiao cultivates C-level breathing techniques and C-level combat skills, while Chu Zhou cultivates D-level breathing techniques and D-level combat skills. Jin Xiao also has real warriors to guide and cultivate. Why does Chu Zhou compare with Jin Xiao? His recommended quota will always be Jin Xiao's. What kind of commoner genius is just there are no tigers in the mountains, monkeys are kings? Now that Jin Xiao has risen, commoner genius is not worth mentioning. Chu Zhou, being a seasoned person, is a hero. I have inquired and found out that your martial arts talent was average during the middle school entrance exam. With your talent, your potential is not much stronger than ours. Although you are currently a senior apprentice, you probably have no hope of becoming a true martial artist. It's better to join Jin Xiao. With Jin Xiao's background, I can at least provide you with a job as an elite bodyguard in the future, earning 10 to 20,000 yuan a month, which is easy. Lu Ping, Wang Ji, and Ma Dong, 3 lackeys, shouted loudly. I'm sorry, but if you open your mouth, you'll be too proud. Dong Wendy angrily retorted. Jin Zhennan, don't you care about your dog? Chu Zhou asked coldly. I think they said it well. Jin Zhennan pushed his golden glasses with his hand and smiled calmly. I hate the unethical behavior of walking my dog without a leash when I go out. Since you don't care, I'll take care of it for you. Chu Zhou directly took action. The life field energy of ordinary humans is around 0.5, and the speed limit is about 9.58 seconds per 100 meters, which is about 10.43 meters per second. Chu Zhou's life field energy is 3.5, which is 7 times that of ordinary humans. His physical fitness is at least 3 or 4 times stronger than that of ordinary humans. Therefore, his speed reaches at least 30 meters/s, which is equivalent to 108 kilometers per hour. This speed is quite terrifying. His figure only moved and appeared in front of Lu Ping, Wang Ji, and Ma Dong. Many people didn't see how he did it, only to see Lu Ping and the three of them all flying backwards a few meters, then bowing their bodies like prawns, convulsing and foaming at the mouth. Chu Zhou, do you dare to touch my people? Jin Jinan was furious when he saw Chu Zhou directly knocking down Lu Ping and the others. It all depends on the owner to beat a dog. Now Chu Zhou is beating Lu Ping and the others in front of him. Isn't that hitting Jin Jinan's face? Not just those who dare to touch you. I even beat you. Chu Zhou originally wanted to wait for the elite to test before suppressing Jin Jinan, but now he doesn't want to wait anymore. He started again. As soon as he stepped forward, he appeared in front of the south of Jinjin. His right hand turned into a sharp and unparalleled blade, cutting a curved line towards the south of Jinjin. With a fierce aura, as if a killer who is taking people's lives, it is like beheading them directly. Jin Jinnan's face changed greatly. He never expected that Chu Zhou would be so decisive, not only to hit his dog, but also to hit his master. C-level combat skills, smash fist. He suddenly punched wildly, and his arms suddenly thickened by a third, emitting a violent aura. An explosive roar echoed in the air. Bang! The hand knife collided with the fist, creating a raging airflow. Jin Jinnan's pupils slightly shrank, and he felt a piercing pain coming from his fist. It was as if my fist had been fiercely slashed. How could this be? He actually blocked my punch with a curved hand knife. Jin Jinnan's face changed greatly and he quickly withdrew his fist. In the crowd, when Lu Qianshan saw Chu Zhou wielding a curved hand knife, her gaze immediately froze. She vaguely felt that Chu Zhou's curved hand knife seemed to exceed the proficiency level. A stunning idea flashed through her mind. Could it be that Chu Zhou had just cast a micro-level curved hand knife in the small forest? What are you doing? Are you planning to fight in the cafeteria? Suddenly, a middle-aged man who looked lazy and lacked motivation walked over. It's a fat wolf. Someone is whispering. Chu Zhou's gaze flickered and he immediately recognized the person coming. This is the combat teaching teacher of their class, nicknamed Fat Wolf. It is said that he once worked as a mercenary and only came to 5th high school as a teacher after retiring. He still has a scar on his face. Seeing the appearance of the Fat Wolf, Chu Zhou knew that today's battle could not continue. Teacher, I was just sparring with Jin Jinnan. Chu Zhou blinked his eyes and smiled. Not bad, it's a sparring. Jin Jinnan also spoke up. Although discerning people can tell that they are fighting, there are still some things that cannot be put on the table in front of the teacher. Otherwise, they will all be punished. Fat Wolf glanced lightly at Chu Zhou and Jin Jinnan, who were talking nonsense, without much hesitation. To practice, go to the martial arts teaching room for practice. This is a place to eat, don't disturb others' meals. He said indifferently. Okay, teacher, I'll leave now. Chu Zhou glanced at Jin Jinnan and the 3 dog legs foaming on the ground, then pulled his close friend Dong Wendy away. Jin Jinnan lowered his head and looked at his right hand, where there was a prominent bloodline, a strand of blood slowly seeping out. Chu Zhou. He gritted his teeth in his heart, jotting down today's humiliation, and then quickly left. As for the 3 henchmen, he didn't take another look. After Chu Zhou and Jin Jinnan left, the lazy, fat wolf suddenly burst out with a hint of brilliance in his eyes. Like a sleeping lone wolf, suddenly awakened. Chu Zhou, he actually practiced the curved hand knife to the advanced level. He seems to be only 17 years old. Sure enough, dragons give birth to dragons, phoenixes give birth to phoenixes, and mice sons dig underground holes. He murmured in a low voice, his eyes narrowing and his plump body moving away gradually. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ambition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Ambition. School cafeteria. 9 dishes, madman, are you trying to turn depression into appetite? Dong Wendy, a close ally, widened his eyes when he saw the table in front of Chu Zhou, filled with 9 dishes. The food provided to them in the school cafeteria contains high-energy substances. Under normal circumstances, 2 dishes are enough for them to eat very full. Dong Wendy claims to be a cook, but he can only eat 3 dishes at most. 9 dishes are enough to burst his round belly, and his body cannot digest so much energy. Crazy, are you okay? Dong Wendy reached out and touched Chu Zhou's forehead. No fever. Is it a mental problem? It is rumored that some people seek relief through binge eating when they are hit or feel depressed and anxious. Poor lunatic, it must be because of his recommended spot that he needs to be replaced by Jinjin Nanding, that's why he's doing this. Damn it. I got such a disease at a young age. Dong Wendy sighed and sympathized, looking as if he couldn't bear to see Chu Zhou seriously ill. Fatty guy, you have so many scenes. Chu Zhou rolled his eyes and angrily slapped Dong Wendy's palm on his forehead. Have you forgotten that I am a senior apprentice? Dong Wendy was stunned for a moment before muttering, by the way, I almost forgot you were a senior apprentice. The digestive function of senior apprentices is much stronger than that of junior and intermediate apprentices, and eating a little more doesn't seem like a big deal. But you have too many of them, right? Chu Zhou ignored his close friend Dong Wendy and went straight to eat. Diamond rice the size of a finger, golden chives, and purple moon melons filled with a faint purple light. These are high-energy foods that emerged after the Cataclysm era. These high-energy foods are actually not easy to grow and obtain. The school has preferential policies to provide students with so much high-energy food, and the fees are very cheap. Outside of school, many poor people mainly rely on synthetic nutrition bars to satisfy their hunger in their daily lives. On important days, they only purchase some ordinary vegetables and meat. As for high-energy foods, they are too expensive for ordinary people to afford. 1 dish. 2 dishes. 3 dishes. Chu Zhou quickly eliminated 3 vegetables, and by this time, he had already eaten enough to meet his physical needs. But he still didn't stop. Eat and eat. The remaining 6 dishes were also eaten by him like fallen leaves in a strong wind. At this moment, he also felt that his stomach was full and he couldn't eat anything more. Dong Wendy was stunned when he saw Chu Zhou, who looked like a starving ghost, and forgot to eat. I don't know how many attribute points this meal can add. Chu Zhou thought to himself, his gaze fixed on the attribute panel that only he could see. At the same time, his stomach also rapidly wriggles and digests food. A large amount of energy is constantly replenished into the body to meet its needs. Under Chu Zhou's gaze, the attribute point values on the attribute panel finally began to increase. Plus 0.01. Plus 0.01. Plus 0.01. The attribute points are continuously increasing at a growth rate of 0.01. The time it takes for an average human to digest a meal of mixed meat and vegetables is approximately 3 hours. Chu Zhou only took half an hour to digest everything, and he still digested high-energy food. In the end, this meal added 0.15 attribute points to him. Even if I am a senior apprentice, my digestive ability is much stronger than that of an ordinary person, but there are limits. If I overeat, I'm afraid it will damage my digestive system and not be worth the loss. In that case, it's best to maintain 3 meals a day. 1 meal increases the attribute by 0.15 points, and 3 meals a day results in a 0.45 point attribute. If it's 10 days, it's a 4.5 point attribute. So, if it's 30 days a month, it's a 13.5 point attribute. Adding 13.5 attribute points per month, along with the original 2 attribute points, results in 15.5 attribute points. When upgrading the arc hand knife from proficient level to advanced level, it consumed 2 attribute points. 15.5 attribute points, which should be enough to upgrade the arc hand knife to perfect level or even artistic level. Even if there are still some remaining attribute points, upgrade the basic breathing method by 1 level. After a simple calculation, Chu Zhou was slightly delighted and excited. If the plan goes smoothly, he can elevate the curved hand knife to the level of artistic conception in a month. In that case, not only can he easily crush Jin Zhenan in the elite trial, but even if he enters the top 10 of the elite trial, it is not impossible. Even make it to the top 3 of the elite trial. I heard that the top 3 players in the elite trial will receive an incredibly precious reward. Gene Potion. Gene Potion is a precious potion that helps humans unlock gene locks and transform into warriors. A bottle of genetic potion, with a market price of 10 million Union coins. And although there is a price, it is simply not available. Even if you are admitted to Wudao University, it is very difficult to obtain the genetic potion. Now, there is an opportunity to obtain genetic potion in front of me. Chu Zhou thought this way and suddenly had an astonishing ambition in his heart. If it had been in the past, he wouldn't have dared to have such ambitions. The rewards for the top 3 in the elite trial are incredibly tempting, but no one has entered the top 10 in their 5th high school for decades, let alone the top 3. Jiangqing No. 1 High School is the place where martial arts talents are concentrated. Over the past few decades, the top 10 in every elite trial have been mostly covered by students from Jiangqing No. 1 High School. Occasionally, students from other high schools will make it to the top 10. But the top 3 have always been from the first high school. Chu Zhou dared to develop such ambition after calculating that he would have the opportunity to upgrade his curved hand knife to the level of artistic conception 1 month later. However, there is still one problem that needs to be solved now. If I eat like this every day, it seems like my meal expenses are not enough. Under normal circumstances, he usually eats 2 dishes per meal. The monthly meal expenses are approximately 1,000 Union coins. But now, with this 9-dish meal, his consumption per meal is slightly more than 4 times that of the original. So, his monthly meal expenses immediately skyrocketed to over 4,000 Union coins. His student card balance is only over 900. This is clearly not enough. My father's monthly salary is 3,000 Union coins. In addition to maintaining the family's daily expenses, he also needs to support me and my sister's education, so there is hardly any extra money left. I need to find a way to make my own money. Chu Zhou has a headache and is thinking about what part-time jobs are suitable for him, which can make him earn over 3,000 yuan per month. Suddenly, his gaze lit up and he turned to his close friend Dong Wendy. It's hard to find a part-time job with 3,000 alliance coins per month. However, it doesn't seem difficult to attract investment. In front of you, there is a very suitable investment target. Old Dong. How is our relationship? Chu Zhou smiled kindly at his close friend Dong Wendy. Puff. Dong Wendy, who was eating, saw Chu Zhou's friendly smile and shuddered all over. He took a mouthful of rice and spat it out, madman. You're laughing so cheap. What do you want to do to me? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Sword Sister Shocking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Sword Sister Shocking. Dong Wendy was plump all over, with his arms crossed to protect his chest, and his eyes alert as he looked at Chu Zhou. As a long-time ally, he knows Chu Zhou too well. Whenever Chu Zhou showed such a friendly smile, he didn't hold back any good fart. Cough cough, chubby guy, what kind of look are you giving me? Don't you trust me? Chu Zhou's face showed a very injured look. Dong Wendy shook his head fiercely, showing no face and saying, No, I don't trust you. Chu Zhou's face turned black, and he answered so decisively. Do I want face? I knew you would trust me, chubby. Do you want to hear my thoughts? Okay, no problem, I'll talk about it now. He spoke to himself. Dong Wendy. Dot. That's another move. How many times have you used it? He was in despair. Cough cough, chubby guy, I have a profitable investment project here. For the sake of being friends for many years, it's cheaper for you. Chu Zhou didn't seem to see Dong Wendy's desperate gaze and continued, look. Sitting in front of you now is the future pinnacle of human strength. What is the best investment? Talents. You only need to invest a small amount of 4,000 alliance coins now to get a friendship with a future human peak powerhouse. Think about it, is this investment a huge profit, is it super value? Madman, do you know what your biggest characteristic is? Dong Wendy's mouth twitched slightly. Your biggest characteristic is not only shamelessness, but also thick face and dark heart. Chu Zhou chuckled and said, defamation, this is definitely defamation. I am clearly an honest and reliable pure young man. Dong Wendy rolled his eyes, but still transferred 4,000 alliance coins to Chu Zhou on the spot. He comes from a good family, and 4,000 alliance coins are nothing to him. The key is that he understands that Chu Zhou is actually a person with great self-esteem and pride. If it weren't for the money being important to him, he would never have asked to borrow it. Fatty guy, believe me, your investment will definitely be worth it. Chu Zhou received the incoming text message and reached out to pat Dong Wendy on the shoulder, remembering his help this time. In the evening, Chu Zhou and his close friend Dong Wendy came to the cafeteria for a big meal, and their attribute points increased by 0.45 again. The next day, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Chu Zhou appeared in the martial arts teaching room on time, and Sister Dao was already waiting for him. Sister Dao wore a white short shirt and black tight leather pants today, looking energetic and sharp. Chu Zhou, you have already practiced the curved hand knife, so today I will teach you the blade legs. The curved hand knife and the blade leg are both attack techniques that mimic the human body's attack style, and the principle is the same. These two combat skills are actually a set of combination skills. Well used, hands are knives, legs are also knives, limbs are knives, everywhere is a knife, fierce and fierce. This set of combination skills, although they are all at level D, if you practice well, their power will not be lower than that of level C combat skills. Sister Dao gave a brief introduction to blade legs and walked to a corner of the teaching room. In this corner, there are 4 or 5 large stones that are people high. It is used to test the power of combat skills. Watch it, these are the blade legs. As Dao Jie spoke, she suddenly leaped and her right foot lightning struck forward like a curved knife, drawing a sharp arc upwards. With a hissing sound, a tall blue stone, resembling tofu, was cut in half. Sister Dao leaped towards several other large stones, her feet like 2 sharp and unparalleled curved knives, constantly cutting out curves. Just a few breaths, all the big stones were cut in half. Moreover, the fracture surface of each large stone is very smooth. Advanced blade legs. Chu Zhou looked at the large stone fragments with smooth incisions, his gaze fixed, and he let out a soft cry. Not bad, this is the power of the advanced blade legs. Now, you see. Although blade legs are only D-level combat skills, as long as their realm is high enough, their power is equally devastating. The power of combat skills, whether they are powerful or not, is not only determined by the level of combat skills, but also by the practitioner's mastery of combat skills. Sister Dao walked out of the gravel. Chu Zhou raised his eyebrows. He only experienced the power of the micro-level curved hand knife yesterday, and of course understood the power of the micro-level combat skills. Of course, the advanced blade legs are still far away for you. What you need to do now is to first cultivate the successful blade legs, and then combine them with your curved hand knife to form a combination skill. In this way, your strength can also be greatly increased. Sister Dao seems to be afraid that Chu Zhou is too ambitious, so she specifically reminds him. Teacher, I understand. Chu Zhou smiled and did not tell Sister Dao that he had already mastered the advanced level curved hand knife. Okay, next, please pay attention to my lecture on the key points of cultivating blade legs. Sister Dao walked to the podium in the teaching room and with a beep, she pressed the remote control. On the large screen in the teaching room, a 3-dimensional picture of a human body suddenly appeared. Sister Dao began to describe the human muscles, bones, and power roots involved in the cultivation of blade legs, and marked them on the 3-dimensional diagram of the human body. Chu Zhou had already cultivated the curved hand knife to the micro level, and the attack principles of the blade legs and the curved hand knife are actually similar. There is also such detailed guidance from Sister Dao. Therefore, he quickly understood how to cultivate blade legs. Do you understand? After a moment, Sister Dao asked. I roughly understand. Chu Zhou replied. Immediately, he closed his eyes and pondered for a moment, recalling what Sister Dao had just said, while comparing the blade legs with the curved hand knife. After about 10 breaths, his figure suddenly moved, kicked forward with one foot, and his entire leg straightened, then fiercely curved upwards like a curved blade. A burst of explosion echoed in the air. What? Upon seeing this scene, Sister Dao's face couldn't help but stiffen. She just asked Chu Zhou if he understood. It's asking Chu Zhou if he knows how to cultivate blade legs. But Chu Zhou's just kick indicates that he not only understood, but also directly cultivated successfully, reaching the basic level. I just finished teaching. Did you learn it immediately? What kind of monster is this? Sister Dao looked at Chu Zhou in shock. At this moment, Chu Zhou kept using his sharp legs, like two sharp long knives, constantly cutting into crescent-shaped arcs. The sound of air explosions echoed throughout the entire teaching room. As he continued to move, the curves cut out by his legs gave a feeling of increasing sharpness. A faint aura of sharpness emanated through the hair. The explosion in the air gradually turned into the tearing sound of newspapers. This is a manifestation of greater cohesion and sharpness of power. Proficient level. Upon seeing this scene, Sister Dao was so shocked that she couldn't speak. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Perfect Arc Hand Knife. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 7. First Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 First Kill. Fifth High School. Ringing bells. The loud bell resounded throughout the entire campus. For a moment, the entire campus was filled with noise, and a large number of students rushed out of each teaching building, walking towards the school gate in groups of 3 or 5, chatting and laughing. Crazy, Global Evolution was launched a few days ago. Many people have gone crazy playing, have you heard about it? Dong Wendy excitedly said to Chu Zhou. Global Evolution is a 3A level game produced by Dream Company, with many scenes highly reproducing the real scenes of the Cataclysm period, which is loved by many players. Has Global Evolution been launched yet? During this time, besides attending classes, I have been practicing with Sister Dao and missed it. Chu Zhou and Dong Wendy walked out of the school gate while discussing a game that was launched 2 days ago. Suddenly, they stopped and looked at a curved display screen that was 20 meters wide and 50 meters long on top of a large supermarket not far away. On the screen, a host is reporting an important message. In the past week, 12 students in our city have mysteriously disappeared, and it has been found that they are related to fallen warriors. The backbone personnel of the police station are pursuing the fallen warriors who committed the crime. Citizens, if you find a fallen warrior, please immediately report to the police station. As long as the information is true, the police station will reward you heavily. These scumbags are actually targeting students again. Dong Wendy said with great hatred after reading the report. The other students around also cursed loudly one by one. But many people also have a hint of fear in their eyes. Chu Zhou's eyebrows also furrowed. Fallen warriors, as the name suggests, are a group of fallen warriors. This group, like the dark side of humanity, has existed since the birth of warriors and cannot be eliminated. And the members of this group have a very complex background, basically having everyone. However, most people in this group share a common characteristic. That is, normal cultivation cannot continue to progress, and then went to extremes. The reason why this group is so foul-smelling, like mice in a stinky ditch, everyone yells and fights, and is rejected by countless people. One of the most important reasons is many people in this group, in order to go further, are willing to arrest other humans and conduct various heinous, human experiments to study the secrets of human evolution. Fatty guy, be careful these days. If you have nothing to do, stay at home and try not to go out, Chu Zhou reminded. Dong Wendy nodded and said, you too. The car I'm waiting for is here. Let's go first. On the road, a silver-white bus resembling a spaceship quickly drove over. This is a rail transit that can only travel along a fixed track, with 6 freely extendable wheels at the bottom that can be lowered and raised. Its top is designed with solar panels, and there is a large space at the top that can receive solar energy, providing a power system for public transportation. After the rail transit arrives at the platform, it immediately lowers. Drip. Chu Zhou brushed and got on the bus. The main body of the bus immediately rose and then drove quickly. Rail transit, fast running. He sat in his seat, gazing out the window at the city outside. Skyscrapers towering into the clouds, one after another, some buildings can even rotate. Suspended cars come and go. Unfortunately, whether it's those skyscrapers or floating cars, they have nothing to do with the poor. Those who can enter and exit skyscrapers and have floating cars are wealthy individuals with status and status. As long as I can become a warrior, I will have all of these. Chu Zhou muttered to himself. After the rail transit passed through 4 streets, the surrounding environment suddenly underwent a huge change. It seems as if civilization has suddenly regressed by nearly 100 years. There are no longer those high-tech rotating buildings here, and floating cars can only be seen occasionally. Everywhere are communities composed of a large number of tube buildings. These tube-shaped residential areas are all government-built affordable housing. The land utilization rate has reached its limit, and the spacing between residential buildings is extremely small, without considering lighting at all. Similar to the tube-shaped buildings in Xiangjiang that Chu Zhou had in his past life. His home is located on the 64th floor of Building 38 in Longquan Community. However, the bus stop is still a bit far from the Longquan Community where his home is located, about 1.2 kilometers away. Of course, this distance is not much for Chu Zhou, who is a senior apprentice. After getting off the rail transit, Chu Zhou immediately took a shortcut and headed straight for home. He passed through old streets and alleys, and even if some of them were blocked, he could easily leap over. Suddenly, his figure stopped abruptly. There are 3 people pushing and fighting ahead. Chu Zhou frowned and didn't want to meddle, so he prepared to go around. However, this small alley was not wide and was mostly occupied by those 3 people ahead. He wanted to bypass it, but was afraid he could only retreat and choose another path. He hesitated for a moment. At this moment, the 3 people were pushing and shoving each other, getting closer and closer to Chu Zhou. Suddenly, one of them suddenly looked up and stared at Chu Zhou. He took out a dagger from his arms and charged towards Chu Zhou. The speed of the dagger was very fast, and there was a burst of sound in the air. Almost at the same time as this person started, the other 2 also started to fight against Chu Zhou at the same time. The 2 people behind them, one wielding a short knife, slashed at Chu Zhou's right leg. The other one, wearing a metal fist with exposed fingers, slammed fiercely at Chu Zhou's shoulder. These 3 people, from pushing and shoving each other, to getting close, and then to making a move, the entire process was full of confusion and suddenness, making it difficult to prevent. Moreover, the attack was extremely fierce and cruel. No, they are intentionally ambushing me. When Chu Zhou was the first person to take action, he realized something was wrong. However, in the past 5 days, he has been constantly battling with Sister Dao, and his mentality has also been tempered. Let him remain calm even in the face of crisis. D.Level Combat Skill, Curved Hand Knife. D.Level Combat Skills, Blade Legs. Chu Zhou's right hand turned into a sword, crossing everything in the sky. A sharp blood gleam flashed away in a flash. With a thud, the dagger piercing his chest and the fist pounding at his shoulder were all cut off in an instant. At the same time, his right foot, like a sharp blade, emerged from its sheath and cut diagonally, cutting off one arm that held the short knife tightly. Ah ah! Accompanied by splashing blood and water, 2 mournful screams and 1 scream of fear sounded almost simultaneously. Jin Jingmao deceived us. This person is not an ordinary senior apprentice at all, but a senior apprentice who has mastered advanced and even perfect combat skills. A middle-aged man with his entire arm cut off roared angrily. Jin Jingmao, you bastard! The other 2 were also very angry. Is it a person who can cut short knives and arms with just their hands and feet, or a high-level apprentice with average talent? Jin Jingmao, why don't you die? Is Jin Jingmao? Upon hearing these 3 people's words, Chu Zhou immediately understood what was going on in his heart. His gaze turned cold, his figure moved, and he passed by the 3 people across in an instant, with sharp red and white curves flashing away. All 3 people collapsed, their bodies separated, and their limbs were cut off. This is the first time in 17 years that Chu Zhou has killed someone. But he doesn't regret it. Pop 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 pop. A burst of applause suddenly rang out. Be decisive and ruthless in your actions. You are very suitable to join our organization. Are you interested in joining us? Suddenly, a young man in a white suit walked out of the corner, clapping his hands. Thank you very much for the long wind and moon reward. Long time no see. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Silver Fox, Su Bai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, Silver Fox, Su Bai. Chu Zhou looked vigilantly at the suddenly appearing young man in a white suit, his muscles tensed instantly, and he made a posture that was ready to attack at any moment. As a senior apprentice, his perception of the environment far exceeds that of ordinary humans. But he didn't notice at all when this young man in a white suit appeared. Unfortunately, this young man in a white suit witnessed the entire process of killing 3 people. It's obvious that the young man in a white suit has been around all along, but he didn't notice. This can only indicate one thing: the young man in a white suit is very strong and can deceive his perception. Don't worry, I'm not with them. The young man in the white suit smiled as if performing magic, and with a casual extension of his right hand, he unexpectedly took out a glass of red wine out of thin air. Cup, it's a high-legged crystal cup. Wine is a deep red wine. This young man in a white suit looked lazy, with a smile on his lips. He held a glass of red wine in his hand and took a sip on the spot. The whole person exudes an elegant and noble aura, as if they were ancient nobles. My name is Su Bai, and the reason I appear is purely because I feel that you are someone who is very fond of me. How about joining the Shadow Alliance where I belong? Su Bai looked at Chu Zhou with a smile. The Shadow Alliance. Are you a fallen warrior? Chu Zhou's face suddenly changed. He has learned about the fallen warrior from news reports and the internet many times. Although these pieces of information about fallen warriors are not comprehensive. But it is also known that the Shadow Alliance is one of the most powerful organizations among the fallen warriors. The Su Bai in front of me is not only a fallen warrior, but also a member of the Shadow Alliance. Chu Zhou never expected that. Not long ago, he only saw news about the fallen warrior in the news. Now, he has personally encountered a fallen warrior. The fallen warriors are just prejudice against us by the world. In fact, we are just a group of people pursuing truth. Su Bai spoke lightly, seemingly indifferent to Chu Zhou calling him a fallen warrior. Those hyenas from the police station have such sharp noses that they chased after them so quickly. Su Bai suddenly glanced in the distance, frowned slightly displeased, and then his gaze fell on Chu Zhou again. I see that you haven't considered it yet, so let's have a chance to see each other again. I hope next time, you can make the right choice. After speaking, he turned around and jumped, and surprisingly jumped directly onto the roof of a 15-story building next to him. Almost at the same time, a red rose shot down and inserted itself in front of Chu Zhou. There is also a shaking and eerie force, spreading out from the center of the red rose. On the ground, spider web-like cracks appeared. The bodies of the 3 people who were killed by Chu Zhou were all shattered by this force, and blood splattered regularly, forming a huge red rose pattern on the ground. Remember, my name is Su Bai, Silver Fox Su Bai. A sound came faintly. Chu Zhou looked solemnly at the red rose inserted in front of him, as well as the red rose pattern dyed with blood. He truly felt the terrifying power contained in the red rose just now, and if it were him who was being attacked, he could not resist it at all. Undoubtedly, this Su Bai is a true warrior who has unlocked the gene lock, and he is not just an ordinary warrior. Fortunately, this person has no ill intentions towards me. Otherwise, today would be dangerous. Chu Zhou let out a long sigh of relief. Today's experience is too magical. Not only were they attacked by 3 strangers, but they also encountered mysterious figures like Su Bai. This makes him even more eager for strength. I feel too insecure. Well, when these 3 corpses exploded just now, it seemed like 3 packages flew out of them. Chu Zhou's gaze swept and he suddenly noticed 3 packages of things wrapped in paper near the blood-colored roses on the ground. He moved in his heart, walked over, picked up a bag, and opened it. A thick stack of money appeared in front of him. His breathing accelerated instantly. Is this money? Chu Zhou's eyes lit up, and he immediately picked up the other 2 packages of money. He glanced at the red rose planted on the ground again, then turned around and quickly left. Shortly after Chu Zhou left, a middle-aged police officer in police uniform arrived at this remote alley. Seeing the red rose planted on the ground and the red rose pattern dyed with blood, his face instantly changed. He crouched down, picked up the red rose that was stuck on the ground, put it close to his nose, and gently sniffed it. With a taste of dragon tongue red wine. Is this really the red rose left by the Silver Fox Su Bai? The middle-aged police officer pressed the electronic button on his collar, and for a moment, a female police officer composed of holographic images appeared in mid-air. Anan, there is an important discovery here. 3 people died here, and there is a red rose left at the scene, which has a taste of tequila wine. This is very likely the work of Su Bai, the Silver Fox of the Shadow Alliance. The middle-aged police officer said to the female police officer. What, the Silver Fox Su Bai, one of the 4 young masters of the Shadow Alliance, actually appeared in our Jiangcheng. Police officer Annan's face changed dramatically. Well. It's very likely that it's him. Although, I don't know what the purpose of a big shot like him coming to our Jiangcheng is, his destructive power is too great, and we need to take it seriously. You call the other police officers meeting first, and I will go back immediately. After the middle-aged police officer finished speaking, he turned off the holographic projection. At the top of a tube-shaped building, Silver Fox Su Bai stood on the edge of the rooftop, observing the figure of a middle-aged police officer from a distance. Beside him stood a burly figure covered in a black robe. Young master, since you value the young man just now, why don't you forcibly take him away and help him destroy his body? The burly figure asked. Value it. Su Bai smiled. It's not really worth it, it's just a matter of having some eye contact. When interest comes, I'll just take a move and I'm not sure if I'll use it in the future. By the way, Qinlong seems to have someone establish a research base near Jiangqing. Yes. And there will be a big operation soon. Do you want to intervene? Intervene. Su Bai sneered coldly, I'm not that brainless idiot like Qinlong. How dare I be so arrogant in Jiangqing? The burly figure showed a puzzled expression. You don't understand, it's not easy here, but there's a real dragon lurking here. Su Bai spoke lightly without further explanation. He looked down and a figure appeared in his heart, with a hint of awe in his eyes. The person who killed Jinghua City that night and shook the world seemed to be hiding in this small town. With such a real dragon around, how dare Su Bai stir up the wind and rain here? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. A windfall of 100,000 yuan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. A windfall of 100,000 yuan. Longquan Community. Building after building, they all seemed like huge square cement columns, separated very closely, appearing crowded and oppressive. Chu Zhou's home is on the 64th floor of Building 38. Fortunately, in recent decades, nuclear energy technology has made rapid progress, and nuclear energy has begun to be used on a large scale. The problem of energy shortage has been alleviated. This allows even in impoverished areas, cheap electricity can be used and elevators can be affordable. Decades ago, when energy was scarce and a large amount of electricity had to be used for urban defense systems, resulting in expensive electricity prices and the inability of impoverished areas to afford elevators. Chu Zhou walked into the elevator and pressed the 64th floor button. The elevator rises. Soon, the 64th floor arrived. Drip. Fingerprint unlock, push the door in. As soon as I entered the room, a strong smell of alcohol rushed towards me. Father, I'm afraid I'll be drinking again. Chu Zhou sighed in his heart. Sure enough, he saw his father lying crooked on the old sofa in the hall. On the glass coffee table next to the sofa, empty beer bottles were filled. Chu Zhou walked over to the sofa and looked at his father, who was sleeping soundly. Especially when he saw his left leg, which was clearly crooked at the joint, he felt a faint pain in his heart. In terms of appearance alone, my father is actually a middle-aged handsome man, but his limp left leg, as well as his frequent alcoholism and lack of grooming, make him look particularly destitute. Why does my father drink excessively all year round? Chu Zhou is not very clear. Since he remembered, my father has been like this. My father never told him the reason. But occasionally he would see his father holding an old photo and staring at it for a long time, sometimes for a whole day. Anyway, although my father drinks heavily, he is still doing his best to raise and take care of him and his sister. I have never been angry with him or my sister, let alone beaten or scolded. He and his sister are sad or wronged, and their father usually silently accompanies them. I have learned online that the water of life can make people break limbs and be reborn. In this case, repairing a father's limp is only a minor matter. However, the water of life is very expensive, at least 1 billion alliance coins. As long as you become a true warrior, you can make a lot of money by hunting monsters. I must become a warrior, work hard to earn money, and buy the water of life for my father. Chu Zhou muttered to himself, reached out and lightly patted his father, whispering. Dad, wake up and go take a shower. It's time to come back when it drizzles. Xiaozhou, you're back. Chu Donglai opened his eyes in a daze. Yes, it's Friday again. You and Xiaoyu are both on vacation. I've been seen by Xiaoyu like this, it's not good. He left the sofa and limped into the bathroom. Chu Zhou began to tidy up the empty beer bottles on the coffee table, put them all in the trash can, and then opened the doors and windows to let out the smell of the wine. Just as he was about to tidy up the house, with a drip sound, the door opened and a beautiful girl around 13 years old walked in. Brother, your youthful and invincible sister is back. Chu Yu shouted loudly and walked towards Chu Zhou. I'm not deaf, there's no need to shout so loudly. Chu Zhou said angrily and reached out to rub his sister Chu Yu's little head. Ah. Brother, you've messed up my hairstyle again, I'm not compatible with you. Chu Yu screamed and used his 9 white bone claws to frantically scratch, tear, and tug at Chu Zhou's body. Alright, you're cooking today, I have some things to deal with. Chu Zhou comforted his good sister and walked into his own room. Now, it's time to take a look at today's unexpected gains. He sat on the bed, took out the alliance coins wrapped in 3 rolls of paper, and then began to calculate the total amount. 100,000 alliance coins. Chu Zhou suppressed the excitement in his heart. This time, I made a fortune. 100,000 alliance coins may not be worth mentioning for those wealthy people, but for families like them, it is a very huge sum of money. Even he wanted to be attacked a few more times. It's too profitable. With this 100,000 alliance coins, my plan can be accelerated. High-energy food can help me accumulate attribute points faster. And the best high-energy food is undoubtedly monster meat. However, even the most ordinary monsters are comparable to awakening-level warriors. Only true warriors have the ability to kill monsters. Moreover, even after killing the monster, it is still a troublesome task to transport its body back to the city from the wilderness. Because there are too many monsters in the wilderness, the bloody smell can easily attract the attention of other monsters. Once attacked by a group of monsters, even awakened-level warriors are likely to fall. Therefore, monster flesh and blood is a very expensive ingredient that only true billionaires can eat. But 100,000 alliance coins should be enough for me to buy some of the lowest level monster meat and eat it for a while. However, first deposit the money in the bank. He went downstairs under his sister's surprised gaze and deposited 100,000 Union coins into his own bank card at a nearby bank in the community. After returning home, he immediately turned on his computer, logged into the mall, and searched for monster meat. Soon, a large number of monster meat images and related explanations appeared on the webpage. For armed monkey meat, beast general level, 500G, 30,000 alliance coins. Iron armor dragon lizard meat, beast general level, 500G, 30,000 alliance coins. Gold-backed crazy beef, elite level, 500G, 6,000 alliance coins. Iron thorn wild pork, beast soldier level, 500G, 1,000 alliance coins. Chu Zhou was still shopping for monster meat online for the first time. Seeing the exaggerated prices of various monster meat, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It's too expensive. If you purchase monster meat at the level of a beast general, the 100,000 alliance coins in his hand can only buy a little over 3 pounds. His father spends 3,000 yuan a month, not eating or drinking, and only has 36,000 yuan a year. Can only purchase a little more than 1 pound of meat. Advanced monster meat, it's really outrageously expensive. Chu Zhou sighed and immediately ordered 10 pounds of iron thorn wild pork. The logistic speed is very fast. In just 15 minutes, the ordered iron prickly wild boar meat was delivered to the door. Brother, what did you buy? Chu Yu, who was cooking, and his father Chu Dong, who had taken a shower, came in with a curious expression when they saw Chu Zhou carrying a large bag of things. This is 10 pounds of iron thorn wild pork, I just ordered it online. Chu Zhou didn't hide anything and said directly. Chu Dong frowned slightly when he heard the words. After pondering for a moment, Chu Yu suddenly realized that the iron thorn wild boar was a beast-level monster recorded in textbooks. She was suddenly startled in her heart. Monster meat, but it's super expensive. Brother, I actually bought 10 pounds of beast soldier-level monster meat. Where did the money come from? Damn it. Brother is so handsome, shouldn't he sell himself and treat those wealthy and powerful sisters like a little white face? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Imagery level arc hand knife. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10 Imagery level arc hand knife. Brother, have you sold meat yet? Chu Yu's two big eyes looked at Chu Zhou with suspicion. What sells meat? Chu Zhou was taken aback. No need to hide it, I understand. Chu Yu's face showed a look of understanding. Many people online say. When I was young, I didn't know the fragrance of soft rice, and I mistakenly transplanted my youth. It seems that you, older brother, are more mature than your peers and have long understood the true meaning of life. She reached out her little hand and patted Chu Zhou's shoulder, saying, Don't worry, brother. Your sister, I am reasonable and understanding. I understand and support you. Father Chu Donglai silently added, There's nothing wrong with earning money based on one's abilities. Chu Zhou reacted and his face was covered in black lines. What kind of messy things have you learned online? He rubbed his sister Chu Yu's little head in a bad mood and messed up her hairstyle again. Listen up, I just made a windfall today. The money I used to buy the meat of the iron prickly wild boar was all my own. He revealed that he accidentally picked up 100,000 alliance coins while taking a shortcut home. He didn't lie, he did pick it up from the ground. What? Brother, you actually picked up 100,000 alliance coins. What kind of luck is this? Chu Yumu stared blankly. At the next moment, she extended her small hand and handed it to Chu Zhou. Everyone has a share. It's better to be happy alone than to be happy together. Brother, I believe you will never be penniless. Chu Yu looked at Chu Zhou with a flattering smile. Not a penny. Am I such a person? Chu Zhou was very angry, and the little girl insulted his personality. He lowered his head and glanced at his arm, painfully plucked a strand of hair, placed it in Chu Yu's palm, and then helped her close her 5 fingers. Take the freshly plucked hair. Chu Yu stared blankly at his closed hand, his expression very broken. Brother, you iron rooster. Screams echoed through the room. Father Chu Dong's mouth twitched when he saw this scene. In the end, Chu Zhou still gave a 500 yuan appeasement fee, which calmed down the collapsing Chu Yu. Xiao Yu, don't underestimate it. This money is of great use to me now. The elite trial is about to begin, and I will use this money to purchase some cultivation resources and enhance my strength. As long as I can rank in the top 3 in the elite trial, I can obtain the gene potion. With the gene potion, I can try to unlock the gene lock and become a true warrior. After I become a true warrior, it will be too easy for me to make money. Even if I give you 5 million pocket money, it won't be a big deal. In the kitchen, Chu Zhou was cutting iron prickly wild boar meat while speaking to his sister Chu Yu, who was cooking. The action of Chu Yu frying vegetables paused for an instant, and he looked at Chu Zhou with a worried expression and said, Brother, are you going to participate in the elite trials held by the top 10 high schools? This is risky, as many people die during the trials every year. Didn't you already get a recommended spot at Wudao University? Why take the risk? Father Chu Dong came and also looked towards Chu Zhou. Well, I'm sure I'll participate. Even if I can enter Wudao University, I must have good performance in order to compete for more resources. Don't worry, I have absolute confidence that nothing will happen. Chu Zhou explained to his sister and father. He didn't mention that the recommended spot was almost replaced by Jin Jinan. There is no need to make family members worry about themselves. Chu Yu saw Chu Zhou's firm gaze and did not continue to persuade. She is very clear about her elder brother's personality, and even 9 cows cannot be pulled back. Moreover, as a warrior, one will eventually face various dangers and cannot avoid them. Compared to the danger of fighting monsters in the wilderness in the future, the danger in elite trials is not worth mentioning. She could only advise, brother, be careful. As you mentioned earlier, when you become a martial artist, you will give me 5 million pocket money. You must come back all the way and fulfill your promise. My father stared at Chu Zhou with a deep gaze and didn't say much, only saying, pay attention to safety. The food was cooked quickly. A drooling aroma of meat wafted throughout the room. This is the aroma of iron prickly wild boar meat. Turn on the TV and the family starts eating. The Chu Zhou family is eating monster meat for the first time. Iron prickly wild pork, smooth, tender and delicious, with a unique aroma that left a lasting impression on the Chu family. Brother, you eat more. Sister Chu Yu, put one piece after another of iron prickly wild boar meat into Chu Zhou's rice bowl and piled it up to the brim. After learning that Chu Zhou was going to participate in the elite trial, she wanted Chu Zhou to eat more and eat more. Chu Zhou looked silently at the meat piled up in a small pyramid, and could only let go and eat it. At this moment, a news was broadcasted on television. A female host said. At 5:35 p.m. this afternoon, in a remote alley near Ian community, 3 deceased individuals were found. The 3 individuals died in a tragic state with no bones left. At the scene of the murder, a red rose was also planted. According to the police, the perpetrator is an extremely dangerous figure among the fallen warriors. During this period, the fallen warriors have been committing crimes, with 12 students missing one after another, and now there are even more homicides. Citizens are advised to pay attention to their own safety and avoid walking in remote alleys. Once suspected fallen warriors are found, they should not approach them. On TV, there were also several pictures of the scene of a murder with mosaics on. Looking at the news, Chu Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. For the police to identify the perpetrator of this murder as a fallen warrior, this is naturally what he hopes to see. Although he actually recorded a video on his phone at the time, it was enough to prove that he was acting in self-defense. In this era, when facing attacks from criminals wielding weapons such as knives and guns, it is completely legal for the victim to defend themselves by killing them, which is considered legitimate defense. Therefore, he is not actually afraid of being discovered to have done it himself. But it's better to have one less thing than one more thing. The current result is quite good. Hey, isn't this alley where you often take shortcuts, old man? Chu Yu looked at the photos on TV and couldn't help but be surprised. Surprisingly, there has been a murder case in this alley. It was the hands of the fallen warrior. Brother, don't go through this alley. Well, I didn't expect this kind of thing to happen in this alley. I won't take this road again soon. Chu Zhou nodded and spoke calmly. Jin family. After reading the news report, Jin Jingmao immediately slammed the table in anger. No wonder they haven't replied yet. Originally, they were killed by the fallen warrior. I wasted my 100,000 alliance coins. Humph, good luck to that kid. Jin Jingmao's face was gloomy. This time the plan was not successful, and he hasn't been able to find anyone to deal with Chu Zhou anymore recently. Recently, the actions of fallen warriors in Jiangqing have been too rampant, and all police officers in Jiangqing's police station are currently on high alert. If he makes small moves, it is easy to cause misunderstandings. Chu Zhou's home. After finishing dinner, he sat and waited for digestion to finish, then immediately checked the properties panel. Attribute point. 0.7, plus 0.45, this dinner has significantly increased attribute points by 0.45. He is at school, having a high energy food feast increases his attributes by 0.15. A meal of iron thorn wild boar meat increases attribute points by 3 times more than a regular high energy food feast. This delighted Chu Zhou greatly. It seems that there is no need to live on campus in the future, and every meal can be eaten at home. Chu Zhou muttered to himself, feeling a decision in his heart. The rules of high school are actually quite flexible, and students can choose to live or not live on campus. Many students choose to live on campus mainly because the school can provide cheap, high energy food. Now that Chu Zhou can eat iron prickly wild boar meat at home, there is no need to live on campus. 2 days of vacation will pass quickly. Chu Zhou still chooses to go home and live. Eat 3 meals a day at home. In the morning, I wake up at 5:30 and arrive at the school martial arts teaching room before 6 o'clock to follow Sister Dao for cultivation. Soon, 2 more days passed. This day is Tuesday. Chu Zhou sat on the grass in the small forest where he tested the curved hand knife last time at school and called up the attribute panel. Name: Chu Zhou, Senior Apprentice, Life Field Ability 3.6, Attribute Point 6.1, plus 5.4, Basic Breathing Method, Level D. Third layer, cannot be improved, Arc-shaped hand knife, D. Level. Fourth layer. Perfect, can be improved, blade legs, Level D. Level 2. Mastery, can be improved, finally, you can upgrade again. Enhance the curved hand knife. Chu Zhou's heart moved, and the attribute panel became flickering and blurry. At the same time, a large amount of cultivation memories and details emerged in his mind. After a moment, the attribute panel returned to clarity. Arc-shaped hand knife, D. Level. Level 5. Artistic conception, cannot be improved, consuming 5 attribute points, the curved hand knife has finally been elevated to the level of artistic conception. End of this chapter.